Alrighty, y'all, welcome to Ellis Mowers. We are finally on to our next riding mower project. I feel like I've been spinning my wheels on the lows and a couple of the snappers here for the past couple of days, but we are moving on. We have a Craftsman DLT. This is a beautiful mower. So beautiful that the people I got it from, they decided to wash it in an oil bath, which is why it is so tacky, shiny, but hey, makes it look clean. That's not really my style or forte, but it works. This is a 12 gauge, 46 inch cut, 3-blade system with a 25 horse? Yeah, 25 horse Briggs Intech Platinum engine on it. So very not high-end engine, but you know what I'm talking about. 46 inch cut, like I mentioned. I did not get a guard with it. I do have the blades for it here. The blades look to be in good shape, like really good shape actually. I have to check all three of them while I'm at it. The deck seems like it's a little on the low end in the front. We'll have to adjust that. We'll have to adjust the deck up in the front some. Let's see what the other two blades look like. Yeah, I will have to take them off and sharpen them, but that's no big deal. Never had a 46 inch cut 3-blade Craftsman before, so this is kind of a new experience for me. What I know so far about it: I put a battery in it. It'll crank all day long, but it won't run unless you put starter fluid in it, which I'll just show you all in just a second. The gas looks pretty old. The fuel filter kind of looks old. Gas lines look okay. What I also see is that they have done something with the stator wire. They have completely bypassed it for whatever reason. Somebody has like there's two wires put together without a wire cap, and whoever did this did a basket case job with wiring. So I might have to reference another riding mower out there. At the very, very least, I want to see if I can get the stator going again. But you got, like, here's some ground wires. I don't know. And there's the wires. This is the wires to the headlights, it looks like. And they don't have the headlights working anymore. Is this, I mean, I'm not sure. It's probably all in an effort to bypass all the safety switches, which is a shame. But it's kind of something I had to do to another riding mower. Get that wasp nest residue out there a while back. So I presume that the stator is not charging since those connections are done. I'll have to check another Craftsman. I've got one or two over there. Probably more than that. But I have to check those wirings to see if I can wire the two back up and get the battery to charge. That's all I really care about. I'd like for the battery to charge, but it does, I mean, it does turn over fine. I'll show you that it runs on starter fluid. So I think if I do a carb clean on this and figure out the whole basket case wiring right here a little bit, as long as it's not preventing the PTO from running and stuff like that, then that's fine with me. Like I said, I'm hoping it's just a carb clean and not a PTO clutch and stuff like that. So we'll see what we got when we open it up here. I bet this thing will crank with the PTO clutch on. It will not. Interesting. So they haven't bypassed all the safety switches. They've just done some weird stuff to it. Oh, I don't need to take any of that off. But let me spray a little bit of starting fluid in here. I'll show you that it runs on starting fluid and starting fluid only. So as you can see, I think it's going to need some valve cover gaskets on both sides. I don't see any oil leaks anywhere else though. The oil in it is decent. It's on the add mark. So I think this mower was taken care of for the most part during its lifetime before this. But we'll get into all the rest of it after I take the hood off and do the whole deal with the carb to take it off. Here, coming up in just a second. Alrighty, y'all, hopefully I got enough juice in the battery for you. But we're going to go ahead and rock and roll with this, getting this cover off. We got 4 5/16 inch nuts I've got to get off right here. And once we get this thing running, we'll figure out some of the wiring issues. I'm not a huge wiring person, so kind of as long as it runs and cuts the way that it needs to. The biggest thing is I want to get that stator wire working again. I love to be able for the battery to stay charged on it. Alright, now we're going to move on to the 10 mil bolts for the engine cover. Never done one of these before, so I'm kind of excited. And I'll have to get those off. Let me get those 3 off camera so I don't waste any time, and then I'll be able to just pull this shroud up, and then we will go ahead and see how we deal with the carburetor here. Alright, so before I go through this whole venture of taking the entire carburetor off, because this does not look like it's going to be extremely fun to do, or it's not going to be bad, it's just not going to be easy to get this whole intake and stuff off. It looks like. I could be wrong. I'm going to take these 2 13 mils off here. Which will take this exhaust shield off. What I'm going to do, I've already checked for fuel pulse. I am getting a pulse. And the vacuum line is hooked up to the valve cover. So I know I'm getting gas down to it. Now, in terms of, let's see, choke appears to be working. It shouldn't cause any other issues. What I'm going to do first is take off the bowl nut. So what I'm doing down here, I don't know how well I can see. I'm taking off the little connector for the anti-backfire solenoid. And I'm going to get some sort of, I don't know what I'm going to get. Sometimes I do vice grips, sometimes I do needle nose pliers. I do have a shaved down 1/2 inch wrench too. Sometimes that doesn't work. So I'm going to try the needle noses today, see if this works. Yeah. All I got to do is loosen it up, and once you get it loose, just finish taking it off. Looks like this is a Walboro card, which is nice. I don't really see too many of these on post 2000 model Briggs, so. Might have been going the wrong way. There we go. Oh no, it's hitting the... Oh man. It's hitting this plate right here. So I cannot get it off. But it does seep gas out, so that's good, I guess. Oh man. Alright, well, we're gonna have to go, let's see, how's the throttle? Oh yeah, it's the throttle plate that's keeping me. Alright, we're gonna have to go through the venture of taking this thing off, I think. Let's see what I can do here. It's got fuel in the bowl, I know that. Let's see. I don't know, maybe we can get it off like this. Maybe I'm gonna get my 1/2-inch wrench. And what I'm gonna do is spin, so this spins around, the nut spins around inside the bowl or the little connector there. So I'm just gonna spin around the nut, loosen it, and see if the anti-backfire solenoid is working on it. If it is, then we know we gotta go deeper. If it's not, then we can cut it off or try and free it up and see if that helps to get us running again. So I'm gonna get a 1/2-inch wrench. I'm gonna go ahead and finish taking off that bowl nut. Alright, so let me show you. I was looking at these two wires. Look what they go to. Gray and black, right? Gray and black. Go to the anti-backfire solenoid. So whenever I turn the key switch, it's not working. So I can do one of two things here. One, try and wire it back up, or two, the easy thing, and the thing that most small engine people do to these, is grab some of these and we're just going to do this. With two hands. We're just going to cut it off. That way we can fully eliminate this issue. It's probably going to shoot around everywhere. This one's extra tough, y'all. There we go. You know where it went. Alright, so now let me take it. I was able to. I mean, you've got to plug that in anymore. Might just do it for decoration. See what we can do here. We need to go lefty-loosey. So tighten this back up because we're going upside down. I'm going to tighten this bowl back up without that anti-backfire on it, and we'll see if it runs. Alright guys, remember, don't hate me too hard. I'm learning as I go here. But I found the two 10mm bolts that'll take out this throttle linkage here, and that made me a whole lot easier to get up in here and tighten this thing up, which I think is about as tight as I can get it again. So hopefully that will prevent fuel from leaking out. I'll just plug that back in just to keep it out of the way, and I'll pop these two things back on here. I'll do it really quickly here for us. I have to dodge the bowl there. oily as everything. It's not really coming from the top of the motor, it's just coming from around the valve covers and blowing it out. I don't know, what do y'all think? Think it'll crank? Or run? We know it'll crank. Take a second if it does. Oh. I messed up the throttle, have I? Might have did mess it up. Might have messed it up a little bit by bending it in. Oops. Bending it out. Alright, let's do it. I was just bound up on something. All right, moment of truth. What do y'all think? Man, that V-twin runs good. Woo! Got some smoke to burn off though, I know that. Right there, the valve cover. Wow. Oh. Well, the ground stop don't work. That's great. Alright, we'll check it out then. Maybe not. Well, I guess we'll go with the old-fashioned way here. How in the heck did that thing try and run with no spark? Oh, because it was arcing off of this. Alright, diagnosis so far. We know it runs, it starts, it does not turn off. That's an easy fix though, killing the ground. It's probably because there's the ground to the coil is not plugged up somewhere. I think that may be my coil ground right there. One of them. I think they're actually married to each other. Let's see. I think that might be my ground wire there for the coil, which is really strange, but I'll figure it out. Alrighty, so I think I've got one thing figured out on this now, and it's the grounding wire to the coil. Which is this, excuse me. I thought this originally went to the anti-backfire, but it goes to the coil. There's my blue wire that I need to attach to this. So we'll go ahead and attach that here in just a second, but let me show you. We'll crank her up. So that's a ground wire to something. But it still wants to ground out whenever I have the switch on still, so I don't know if that's exactly what we want to be going on. Maybe that's, oh, I don't think that would be it, would y'all? We need something to ground out to the coil at some point somewhere. So I will have to do a little bit more investigating, but that is what we have learned is the ground wire to the coil that goes right there. And I'm just going to have to keep working on this wiring basket case that this thing is. I don't know what possessed them to do what they did with all the wiring on this thing. It is just atrocious. But we'll work on it. We'll eventually get it. We'll eventually, hopefully, get the PTO going too. I'm really hoping that it's not a PTO issue on this thing. I'm going to be very upset if I got to buy a PTO for it. But ground wire to the coil, we'll figure out where I need to put that so that it only grounds it out when the switch is off. I'll do a little more troubleshooting, see what I can figure out for y'all, and we'll get it. We'll get it. No worries. Alright, y'all, so the benefit of having some safety switches bypassed is that it's pretty easy to check if I have power to the PTO. So I'm going to put this alligator clip on. And I've just been messing around with the wiring a little bit just to make sure that everything's got good ground. And despite this whole basket case, it does, thankfully. But let me pull so I've got the switch in the on position right now. Let me pull this PTO. You see I'm getting about 11-ish volts, right? You hear that PTO clicking? So, what I'm going to do, I'll turn the switch off just so I don't mess with the battery too much. Turn the switch off. So I'm getting power to the PTO with the switch on. And the PTO is clicking. The belt's tight. Belt's good. So is something wrong with the PTO? Or did I fix something that I didn't realize that I fixed? I don't have a clue. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the switches back on, take it out here, and let me see what happens with it. If the PTO clicks and the blades come on, we're in great shape. Because as you can see, we've got movement of the blade, the belt and stuff. So that's free. I'm curious now. Let me pull this. Let me see if this locks it in. Yeah, that locked it in. I bet we got blade action now. Oh man, I'm excited. All right. Let me put these back on. I'm excited, y'all. Sorry. Let me put this back on and let me get out there and see if we got some blades to work with here. All right, so here's the only thing that I did that may potentially cause this to work. All I've done so far is I took the electrical tape off of this. So I traced the ground back. The ground is good, even though it's, I don't know, I have no words to describe it. Ground is good. Took the electrical tape off, and now I've got, like I said, well, we had action going on with this. I don't hear it anymore. That's really weird. You reckon I got a little interesting. So I put the switch back. I don't think it's going to work now. Really strange. That's really strange because it was just clicking. And obviously I've got to ground out the coil somehow. Wrong one. So that's really strange because as soon as I put it back, everything back the way that it was supposed to, The relay's not clicking anymore. That's allowing it to super strange. So let's isolate this and see if the blades will come on whenever I pull this off and pop it into place. Because I verified that the PTO switch works. I wonder if I've just got a bad now it's not working, but it was just working just a second ago. The only thing I did was pull the ignition switch wiring out of it. Which is semi-baffling. And pull this switch back. I'm trying to do this with one hand, guys. I'm sorry. Oops. Because why would it do it just fine when I've got it off of the mower like that? Now it doesn't want to do it. And it was just clicking just a second ago. Don't reckon I'm mess this up again, do we? I literally just had it. It's so strange. Unless I've got a bad connection down low there. Oh, this one might be fun to figure out, y'all. Why would it all of a sudden be working and now it's not? Wow. Let me do a little bit more troubleshooting. Because obviously something's not working right. Ooh, what was that? I think I just blew the fuse. Might have just blown the fuse out, actually. I saw something ground out down here. So I turned it off with the switch on. Yeah, I just blew the fuse out of it. Interesting. I wonder if it'll restart now. No. Okay, I'll put another fuse in it then. Alright, so now that we know we can't ground out, or we can't cut it off with the switch on via that blue wire. Trial and error, folks, trial and error. But why had the switch worked just a couple minutes ago? And I tested the switch was good. Unless I have bad connections. I'll clean the connections out. But I don't know after that. I'm very curious. So we'll keep digging, see what we can find here. Alright, so I have figured out that we have an intermittent PTO, because I've checked it on both the front end and the back end of the plug. It's getting a full 12 volts whenever that PTO switch is pulled. And so I just think we either got some magnet issues on the PTO, or we got a bad PTO altogether, because it will click. Y'all have heard it click. But I cannot get it to do it again. But I'll show you. you're going to see it in negatives because I've got that. But I've got the switch on, PTO pulled back. We're getting 12 volts, solid 12 volts. If I can get the connection right on both sides there. So we're getting power down to the PTO, we're just not getting engagement from the PTO. So that's another day because it's dark out. But hey, we know that we got some PTO issues with it. If I've got to put a whole nother clutch on it, so be it. If I just have to adjust the magnets, which I think these are adjustable from what I read a while back whenever I was working on that LT 1750 limited edition. I think you can adjust the magnets on these. I think. Don't you just have to turn those bolts in a little bit right there? Thinking out loud here. Let me just do a little quick troubleshooting. If that does anything, you'll see it on this side of the video. If not, you'll see another brighter day where we dig into fixing this PTO. Alright, so let me show you how I'm approaching taking this belt off. I'm going to go ahead and take the PTO clutch off. So there's a spring on this 46-inch deck. It has two belts on it that attaches right there. So I've taken that spring off and I've been able to push this pulley in and get the belt off right there, and the PTO clutch just decided to fall off, so that works too. So we've got that going on. I just got to take the belt off of it. This belt hasn't been turned in a while, as you can see right there. I apologize for the shakiness of the camera. I'm, getting under these mowers is sometimes difficult to do this. You can see this PTO is pretty rusted also. But what we're going to do is we're going to check the air gap of the PTO while we're at it. So I'm going to get it on the bench here and we'll test it out and see what we have air gap wise. I'm also going to make sure that there's no resistance here in the connector and clean all that too. This is a Warner 5215-51. So I'll check to see what the air gap is supposed to be on it, and then I'll adjust these adjustment nuts in order to get it to where it needs to be. Like I said, I think this thing just needs some cleaning, because I've heard it run a couple of times just messing around with it. So I'm gonna get my feeler gauge and honestly I might take these nuts off real quick just to see how everything looks inside the PTO, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so here's the inside of this thing. It looks pretty rusted and pretty rough, but we still got, magnetization on both sides, so figured that it'll be alright. Everything about the PTO is testing fine. It's just that this thing is dirty. So I'm going to get wire brush and just clean it off and see if that helps matters. And then I'll pop it back on and we'll roll on with it here. Alright, so this PTO really needed cleaning anyway, so this really isn't a loss, but I got the air gap set to 15 thousandths right there on the clutch. Let me show you what I figured out. So I've got the switch on, I've got the PTO on, and it's not doing anything. I don't know what they did, but they rigged up something to where, check this out. I'm not getting any sort of like completed circuit with it. And I think that this wire right here has something to do with it, because I pop that wire and it's grounding and doing what it needs to do. So I think they just and trying to bypass the safety switches mess that up. So let me attach this wire, the one that I have my fingers on, to this wire and see what we have. I'll go ahead and put it back. I'm going to go ahead and put the clutch back on as well. Alright, so I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna dress this up some, but at least throw some electrical tape around it and kind of tie these wires back. But for testing, here we go. So I've got the switch on, pull that PTO back, PTO is working. So let's test this thing out. See what we got. Hopefully we've got something good. I'll put the belt tensioner and stuff back on too, so I'm gonna do this. I don't have a lot of gas in it either, so well, it works, but it killed the engine. There we go. That's right, I gotta figure out how to turn it off now. Let's see, blue wire. So the blue wire grounds out something. The orange wire grounds out something. Or does it ground out something? The orange wire goes to the switch. I have to figure out what that goes to. So it might be, I don't know. Still a basket case, but one thing's for sure, it is working. I've got a brown wire here. The brown wire that went to the PTO. I don't know if this will ground out to the coil or what. If I have to blow a couple of fuses figuring it out, so be it. But we're getting there. We have working blades and we have a running engine, so we're two of the three, or we're almost there. I want to sort out a few more wiring snafus. I also want to sharpen the blades on it. The deck belts look pretty good. Obviously we see that it's running fine, cutting fine. And we'll go on to part 2 with this. This is a great time to end part 1. We've got it running, we've got it cutting. And so now if we can just get it, you know, now we just got to dress things up with it. A tire tube here and a tire tube there, and figuring out how to ground the switch out whenever you turn it off, which I'm going to figure out here in part 2 as well. So into part 1, we have what was a $100 Craftsman DLT 46-inch 25 horsepower V-twin Briggs, dead on arrival. We have taken off the what's that called? The anti-backfire solenoid. And we have also found out how to ground the PTO clutch from the basket case wiring that we've got going on here. So, part 2 will continue with doing dress-up things like I'm got to put valve cover gaskets on it on both sides because they are in rough shape, and also blade sharpening, figuring out how to get it to where it'll shut off on us, and a couple of other things. So thank you all for watching as always. We'll have part 2 coming up. This is going to turn out to be a super nice lawnmower. I'm going to contact a potential buyer for it. Actually, right now that I know I've got it running and cutting, tell them, hey, I'm doing some work on it. Do you want it? Here's the price and all that good stuff. So I'll catch back up with y'all in part 2 for this. But for now, part 1's done on this DLT Craftsman, and we'll see you next time.